and gentlemen, I would like to say thank you for coming in my presentation. It's great to see you all. First of all, I want to say thanks to Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala for the opportunity given to me to stand here to explain my research with the title The Correlation Between Student Speaking Anxiety and Speaking Ability at First Grade SMP Negeri 2 Tebo, and the honorable of my lecture subject of Seminar and Language Teaching, Ms. Suharni MPD. Let me introduce myself. I'm Dwi Utami Nurfadhillah from CSID English Department STKIP PGRI Sumatera Barat. Alright, I will immediately submit my research proposal seminar starting from the chapter 1 introduction. Let's get started. First, background of the problem. English language skills are increasingly needed in social fields, and job demands are also one of the reasons why a person must have English skill. In this era, English is used everywhere to communication between citizens because English is the only language international. Speaking is the highest target in English language because speaking is the basic of communication which become a function learning. In other words, speaking can be called as oral communication, and speaking is one of skills that very important in English learning. That is the reason why the teacher have big challenge to teach their students to master English well. Especially, speaking in English is the class or out of the class. Furthermore, to improve students' speaking ability, teachers should give an effective way or strategy in learning process. But the problem that often occurs is the anxiety felt by students in practicing speaking skill. So, it interferes with their speaking ability with others using English. And then, when speaking has bad effect in speaking of student anxiety, based on the experience of researchers at SMP Negeri 2 Tebo while conducting the teaching process, researchers found the student anxiety levels in speaking English. That is very influential in students because when students speak English, the student anxiety level reaches a high level. Higher level on the anxiety when students do speaking activities. This has an impact on the lower level of students' speaking abilities. They have not practiced a lot about speaking, then some of them, they don't have self-confidence when speaking English in front of their friends. This has an impact on the lower level students' speaking abilities. Thus, based on the description above, it can be concluded that the study wants to examine the correlation between speaking anxiety and speaking ability of students in the speaking ability in English. Next, ladies and gentlemen, we go on with the identification of the problem. Based on the background of the problem, it was found that while a learning process is speaking skill, researchers found the correlation between speaking anxiety and speaking ability of students in their speaking ability in English. Many students have anxiety in speaking due to several things and reasons that can affect the speaking ability. See formulation of the problem. In this research, the researchers can formulate a problem of the research. Is there any correlation between speaking ability and speaking anxiety of students in learning English at first grade SMP Negeri 2 Tebo? And hypothesis of the research is negative correlation. And then purpose of the research is to know of the correlation between speaking ability and speaking anxiety in learning English at first grade SMP Negeri 2 Tebo. Ladies and gentlemen, now we are going to chapter 2 is review of related literature, which begins with review of related theories. First, definition of speaking. In my research, there are several experts who explain the speaking definition. The words according to Rahman Devianti 2012, the second according to Amian 2018, Data according to Khatib and Maruf 2015, and the fourth from Rahman and Devianti 2012, and the last according to from Brown 2001. From some of these aspects, I can conclude that speaking is namely a means of oral communication, and speaking is one of the productive skills that are very important in learning English. And then definition of anxiety. In my research, there are several experts who explain the definition of speaking anxiety, namely according to Basril et al. 2020, according to Kalla and Siribu 2020, and then according to Amian 2018. From some of these aspects, I can be conclude that anxiety comes from whether someone has a high level of anxiety or fear. It can interfere with one's mood condition. The level of student anxiety when speaking has bad effect. In speaking, students think too afraid or anxiety about something, making them anxious in speaking English. In other words, anxiety can interfere or give bad impact on the concentration of speaker. And then speaking anxiety factors. To know the factors, have 3-point factors from the Hanifa and Indonesia 2018. There are cognitive factors, affective factors, and performance factors. Okay guys, I want to explain to you first, and first is cognitive factors. Basically, cognitive factors focus on student background knowledge as in influence student speaking performance. And then affective factors, unlike cognitive factors, which is refers to student thinking process, affective factors belong to feelings and personality of the learners. And then performance factors. A number of studies has verified that non-extensive speaking like performing a presentation in public can be more difficult and is likely to generate more anxiety than having a conversation. Students with average performance had communication fright as the major hardly in their way to success, owing the fact that they could not handle to fear and speaking before a group. Next, we're going to review of related finding. The researchers finds related finding which discuss the same problem with the research. The was according to Tridinanti 2018 with the title The Correlation Between Speaking Anxiety and Speaking Ability, Self-Confidence of Undergrad EFL Student of Private University in Palembang. And the second according to Tarsia 2017, the title is Analysis of Student Speaking Anxiety, and it is effect on speaking performance. And last according to Sudiatno et al. 2020, the title is examining the effect of contextual teaching learning and anxiety towards student speaking skill. Well, we go on with the conceptual framework. You can see in my slide, the conceptual framework shows that the research discuss about speaking anxiety and speaking ability. There are many experts explain about speaking anxiety and speaking ability as explained above. Based on Hanifa and Indonesia 2018, there are 3 factors on speaking ability. There are cognitive factors, affective factors, and performance factors. These 3 factors of speaking anxiety can be assessed correlation between speaking anxiety and speaking ability. Ladies and gentlemen, then we are going into the last chapter of my research, namely chapter 3, research methodology, which began with research design. In a study, the researchers want to know the correlation between speaking anxiety and speaking ability of students in their speaking ability at Postgrad SMP Negeri 2 Tebo. So, To know the correlation, the researchers use quantitative research in correlation study because the data in number. In the research, the researchers concerned on two variables. There are variable X as a speaking anxiety and variable Y as a speaking ability of student. That was about psychology in learning foreign language and student result of study English as a foreign language. When the researchers research at SMP Negeri 2 Tebet. Next, we go on with the population and sample. The population in the research was diverse ke SMP Negeri 2 Tebet. In this study, the researchers take the first grade SMP Negeri 2 Tebet as a sample. In the class contains of 25 students, but not all of students can be participant in the research. There are only 15 students which follow the task then the researchers distribute. Instrumentation in this research, the researchers use two kinds of the instrument. There are questionnaire and result of student speaking test, or we can say student score. Technique of data collecting. In the research, the researchers use quantitative research to collect data from the students. In this method, there are two steps to collect the data. There are questionnaire and speaking test. And then technique of data analysis. The purpose of the research was to measure the correlation between speaking anxiety and their performance in speaking class. The data of the study were analyzed by using statistical analysis. It could be gotten the correlation coefficient value, or we can say R, of the two variables. These variables were variable X, that was speaking anxiety, and variable Y, that was speaking score. By the interpretation table, the researchers can conclude the strength of the correlation. Ladies and gentlemen, after calculating the data above, it's found of the result of R calculate is 139. The value shows that there is a negative correlation between speaking anxiety and speaking ability. Based on the table interpretation of R value, the result of R calculate to 139 is between 0.000 with the until the 200. It means the strength of correlation between two variables came in very low correlation. Alhamdulillah, that's all about my explanation of my research. May it benefit to all of us. Thank you for your attention, guys. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.